In this presentation, I will talk about worker stress and how it can lead to burnout, specifically the stress and burnout of working in a restaurant. Being a server is extremely stressful and draining because you have to constantly deal with many people every day. Sometimes not enough people are put on the schedule and you become understaffed during a rush. The customers can then become impatient and treat you badly, but you still have to put a smile on your face and be nice. They could even develop a sense of entitlement and take it out on the staff, which becomes even more stressful. The textbook states that worker stress is a very complicated concept that scholars are unable to come to a consensus about, but all the definitions have one thing in common, and it is that worker stress refers to the physical and/or psychological responses to stressful or frightening situations. Some of the physical responses may be ulcers, migraines, asthma episodes, coronary heart disease, colitis, and hypertension. Some of the psychological responses are mental strain, exhaustion, anxiety, depression, all which can lower employee productivity and work quality. Stress can also have both positive and negative effects. We know the negative effects, but the positive effects involve emotions like challenge, pride, anticipation, and accomplishment. The positive responses cause the body to react physiologically and psychologically, just like a negative response would. Negative type of stress would be known as distress, and the positive type would be known as eustress. Stress can originate from an individual's personal traits or from the environment. According to the textbook, burnout is a phenomenon that arises from extended exposure to work-related stress that causes an individual to disengage from the organization. It is the process in which people start to distance themselves from their own work and lose interest in it. Reactions to the withdrawal process could include things like increased tardiness, absenteeism, as well as decreased productivity and decreased quality of work. There are 3 stages to burnout. First, emotional exhaustion, which is brought out by workers' unreasonable demands. Second, depersonalization, which is an indifferent attitude towards coworkers or clients. Lastly, low personal accomplishment, which is where exhausted employees experience dissatisfaction and a sense of powerlessness. The article I used talked about the effects of consumer entitlement on service workers' physical and psychological well-being. It was a research study done with 56 students who had recent experience working as a waitstaff, paid $10 to write about their experiences dealing with the entitled customers. They collected extremely detailed accounts of participants' experience by giving them an open-ended questionnaire. They were asked to identify 3 clients that met the criteria of an entitled client and used them as reference to think of 5 actions or behaviors that showcase the feelings of entitlement. They were questioned on how they were applied to the client, whether they considered or exacted some sort of revenge, and how the restaurant management handled the situation after recognizing entitled acts and expectations. Lastly, they asked the participants to consider how the interactions had impacted their physical and mental health. The participants shared stories about patrons who insisted on receiving free upgrades off menu items, odd discounts, bigger servings than others, and complimentary beverages. The servers themselves were the target of the entitled demands for the customers, and the customers requested to be seated and attended ahead of other customers, expected to be given more time and attention, and sat at tables they had reserved without requesting permission. An analysis of server reports revealed that dealing with entitled clients can be very taxing for waitstaff. To characterize how servers responded to customers, it was separated into 7 main groups. The first category is how they controlled their emotions. Second, giving in and going above and beyond. Third, vengeance or retaliation. 4, escalation and seeking out support. 5, attempting to alter or sway the patron. 6, retreating. And 7, protective attributional reactions. In the end, this study found that dealing with entitled clients had major physical and psychological impacts. In addition to impacting service behavior towards customers, participants frequently retailed stories that hinted at injustice, burnout, and poor health. Some solutions found in this article are to support staff members who deal with entitled clients, may be the first line of defense against the potentially stressful effects of these interactions. In particular, social support from management may play a crucial role in preventing employees from believing that their stress is a sign of incompetence. By giving workers more control, it may lessen the unfavorable influence that entitled clients have over service providers. Other solutions can involve a coping mechanism that uses cognitive processes, such as cognitive restructuring, which is altering one's perspective on stressors. Instead of seeing something as a stressor and a reason to give up, they can change their mind and think of it as a challenge that they can overcome. One other solution is to create a collaborative, encouraging work atmosphere that can aid in lowering employee stress. According to meta-analysis, social support at work minimizes perceived threats and weakens the perceived intensity of stressors and aids in stress management.